The Louie Tee Network is powered by MusicHead University. MusicHeads, classes in session. Turn me up. Enroll on YouTube now. Link is in the description.
Who else could it be? Me, your man, Louie Tee. Welcome to the Command Post-Game Live show. You know what it is. Post up. Take command. This stream is brought to you by Chubbies. We'll talk more about Chubbies. This shirt that I got on, this clean little get up right here, this is all Chubbies approved right here. And I'm going to talk to you about it a little bit later on. But before we get to any of that, let's talk about this game. The Commanders fall to the Cincinnati Bengals 31-17 in their second preseason game of this summer. Lots of takeaways from this game. I'm gonna be real mean tonight. I'm in a great mood, by the way. Let me first and foremost tell you that I'm in a really good mood, okay? But I've had enough of some guys. I don't need to see any more. You stink. And we're gonna get to those. Pink, you stink. It's a number of those dudes on this roster that my hands are clean, all right? I put my hand under the faucet, got a little bit of soap, and I washed my hands clean of a few dudes tonight. We're going to get to those guys on this stream, but let's get to some of the good first. So I'm just going to go through, you know how I do on these preseason breakdowns. I'm going to go through the list, right? I'm going to go through my notes from the game. And then as we're going through, I'm just, sidebar conversations, things that pop into my head, things that I remember seeing, et cetera, et cetera. So let's go through this thing. One of the storylines going in, B-Rob out. What's the run game going to look like? Who's going to step up? C-Rod started the game. And I remember after the first run, I said, oh, shit. Those C-Rod stands out there are going nuts right now. I told you he's better than – man, B-Rob could have ran up that same hole. They were untouched. Our offensive – man, the Cincinnati defense stink. God, you want to talk about stinks? Stinks. They will make anybody's offense feel like the greatest show on turf. Man, do they stink. They made Tanner McKee look like Peyton Manning last week, and they made C-Rod look like Jerome Bettis tonight. They stink on defense, but we'll get to that. First thing first, we lost the toss. Bengals elected to receive. We kicked the football off. I think they're experimenting, first and foremost. I don't like the kickoffs I saw from Matt Gay tonight. That little pooch shit where you angle it to one side, that's bullshit. Kick it up in the air, have it land at the 1 or the 2, and go down and cover the goddamn kick. First of all, I don't like those directional kicks because they could go out of bounds, and now the team's starting at the 40, 45, whatever that rule is now. And second of all, those line drive kicks is like a line drive punt. You're giving a guy a running start. The ball's not getting to about nothing but the 7 or 10 yard line. So you're already halfway to where you want to be. You're catching it on a dead sprint. Man, Charlie Jones almost broke that first goddamn kickoff return. I was like, not this shit again. They were out to the 40. I was pissed off. To be honest with you, I was pissed the hell off about that shit. Was not happy at all. However, cooler heads prevailed. And so to start the game off, Wise and DA were your defensive ends. Not a surprise. Those are going to be your starting defensive ends, along with Payne and Kinlaw. Those are going to be your starting defensive tackles. So we saw what the starting defensive line looked like. I was shocked to see T.O. out there as, one of the safeties that was out there early, along with Kane Madrano was your starting middle linebacker. I was like, I don't know. And you know what? When I started to think about it after the fact, I'm like, bro, what did you expect? Who else were they going to put out there? Were they going to put out there the guy that just got here last week in Duke Riley? Literally, Duke Riley was signed a week ago, last Monday. Are you really going to make him your starting linebacker tonight? Are you starting the undrafted Ale Cajo, who was out there very early? very early. I'm talking about second possession of the game. Ale Cajo was all up in the mix. But no, Kane Medrano got the start at middle linebacker. Wow. Okay. Go get him, Tiger. I actually didn't think he was bad. I actually did not think Kane Medrano played poorly. I actually thought he was where he was supposed to be. I'm going to go back and watch it again, obviously. But I actually, on first blush, I actually thought Kane was solid. Frankie Louvu with a terrible penalty on 4th and 3. That pissed me off. After they had an incomplete pass to the tight end that brought up 4th down, like, you know, it was undisciplined on the part of Frankie. I knew what he was trying to do, but that was unnecessary. I don't even know if Cincinnati was snapping the ball. The play clock was pretty damn low when he jumped off sides. They probably were going to snap it, but that was dumb. And, you know, last week with the 15 penalties, that was a little bit disconcerting. Tonight, the penalties were still a problem. They still were a problem. Bobby Hart had about 9 penalties by his damn self. I'm pretty sure you guys have heard from Dan Quinn. Can somebody enlighten me? Did any of the corners play in this game? Obviously, Trey Amos didn't play. That's why Noah Igbenogany was out there on the PI on Jamar Chase. But I don't feel like any of them. I don't think Mikey was out there, and I don't think that Southeast Sean was out there. Was any of those dudes out there? I don't think they played any of their corners, which is a surprise because they weren't on the list of guys that weren't participating tonight. So I don't know what prompted them to say, you know what, not going to put our corners out there against the best trio of offensive weapons they're going to see all season. Like, what's the psychological sense behind not getting those guys that caliber of work tonight? Or were they out there and it was just Trey Amos? It felt like none of them were out there. I don't know. But I saw Lattimore warm up. He had his uniform on. I don't know if he was out there or not. I'll have to go back and look to see if he was out there. They didn't target him. I don't think they targeted him. Really, the 2 Cincinnati touchdown drives were both aided by big-time penalties. You know, the first possession, you got the Frankie offsides, and then the probably 30-something yard pass interference, which was definitely pass interference on Noah Igbenogany. Again, we call him the general for a reason. He ain't State Farm. He ain't Allstate, right? He ain't Geico. Hell, he ain't even Progressive. But he's still insurance. Nonetheless, he's the general. And so you put the general in a tough spot, you better have some good coverage, right? We didn't necessarily have it on that play. So you give up the big penalty. I thought that it was great coverage by Will Harris on the slant in the red zone. That was beautiful. That's why they brought him here. That ball had to be perfectly thrown, and it had to be a magnificent catch because the coverage was so good. That was good to see. And then Kinlaw, I thought, had a nice stop inside the 5-yard line to force a third and goal from about the 3. So that was nice to see. And then Quan Martin with a hell of a play on the tackle on Drew Sample, the tight end, at the 1-yard line. And I'm like, let's go, Quan, right? And you know what would have been, because this was it for the defense. We didn't know at the time, but this was it. They were one and done. Both sides of the ball were one and done. So much for Dan Quinn and, hey, we're going to try to get a few possessions out of these guys. Yeah, okay. It was clear that they wanted these guys in and out, right? And so here was an opportunity to get a goal line stand, to get off the field, no harm, no foul, get the stop, energize the crowd, make us feel good about a goal line stand despite this defense bending. They didn't break. We talked about the improved run defense. Here's a chance to show it. 3 guys have Chase Brown wrapped up. Dietrich Wise at his legs. I think a linebacker was around his waist. And Quan Martin comes in and stonewalls him. And he's initially short. And how is it that 3 guys cannot get a 200 and maybe 10-pound running back down to the ground? It's not like an offensive lineman came from behind and pushed the pile into the end zone. He did this on his own. It was an incredible individual effort by Chase Brown. He had no business scoring that touchdown. Really disappointed that we didn't keep him out of the end zone. But he got in. Touchdown. That was it for the first team defense. It was solid. It was a solid showing by the first team defense. The penalty really got the Bengals down the field. They really didn't do anything to hurt us on that possession. We hurt ourselves with the offsides penalty in the past. Again, penalties were an issue in this game. I don't think, obviously, they cut the number of them down and reduced them to probably half of what it was, because we had 15 last week. So the number was either 7 or 8. I don't know what the number was. I just know there were a lot. So it was still a lot. It was probably 7, 8, or 9, somewhere in there. But the yardage was up there because of the PI and the horse collar penalty. Those are two massive penalties, big yardage penalties. We probably were right up there. Bobby Hart, as I mentioned, had at least 2 or 3 penalties by himself. We probably were close to the 80, 90 range in penalty yards. We were at almost 100 last week. So the penalties continue to be a problem. They continue to be an issue, and they were on that opening possession for the Commanders. So you get to it's 7-0, obviously, with the touchdown for the Bengals. And then so we come on the field offensively. And let me just say this. I told you I'm probably not going to be nice tonight. So bear with me. Kaz Allen stinks. All right. There's nothing that Kaz Allen does that I go, oh, okay, yeah, I see you, Kaz. Nothing. Kaz Allen stinks as a return man. Kaz Allen, the running back, is a jag. What does Kaz Allen do? Why is he here? His kickoff returns are so uninspiring. Anyway, we get the football, and we start about the 30, roughly. 25, somewhere in there, 30. First play, Deebo Samuel goes in motion, jet sweep. We hand it to him around the edge, and he takes off. He cuts it back, makes a guy miss, picks up 19. And I'm like, there goes mama. There goes that man right there. Deebo. Dun, 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 dun. Hey, who? Deebo. Who? Deebo. I'm going to just tuck mine in. 19 yards on his first touch. Hell yeah. Then right after that, C-Rod. I mean, you want to talk about the Red Sea parting? Oh my God. The hole was heavenly. It was like, I looked through that hole. I was like, God damn. C-Rod was like, don't mind if I do. He starts rumbling up that right sideline. And I was like, I know the C-Rod stands out there are going nuts. They are going nuts. Then he had another run. Nothing much there. And then JD5 drops back on a 3rd down and takes off. I think it was a 2nd down, actually, because it was only a 4-play drive. Takes off. And get a load of this shit. You know why he had to take off? Listen to, it was an empty set, first and foremost. And this is why I said the running game had to show up today. One, the offensive line was compromised with 3 of the 5 offensive line starters not in the lineup, or at least shuffling the deck, so to speak. We don't know. Connolly could be your starting right tackle, right? But again, left tackle, left guard, Chris Paul, and right guard, Nick Allegretti, were out there. And Allegretti right now, as it stands, is probably going to be your starting right guard in week 1 until Cosme's healthy. But, you know, we were shuffling the deck. So that was one reason why you wanted Jaden to get it out of his hands quickly, or at least run the football to keep him out of long down and distances. And then the other thing was, who the hell is he throwing the football to? There's no Zachary Ertz in this game. There's no Terry McLaurin. There hasn't been any Noah Brown either, right? Listen to this empty set. I mean, this is as nasty a piece of work as it gets. Out wide to his left was John Bates. That's nasty. In the slot next to Bates, Luke McCaffrey. Ugh, that's nasty. On the other side, on his right in the slot, Deebo Samuel. Next to him, Chris Rodriguez. Don't ever in life motion Chris Rodriguez out as a receiver again. I never want to see that as long as I live. My eyes are still burning from that ridiculously nasty route he ran, where he basically just ran into a defender straight. Never again, I want to see him out there as a receiver. And then all the way out wide to the right side was Jalen Lane. So you had a 5-man route concept featuring John Bates, Luke McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel, Chris Rodriguez Jr., and Jalen Lane. That is as dirty, dick, dastardly, despicable as it gets. And you expect our guy to find somebody for a touchdown? He did the right thing. Tuck that bitch and run. Run, Jaden, run. And that's what he did. He knew damn well wasn't nobody getting open on that play. When he looked around, when he's surveying the defense to see what they were doing, and he looked at the 5 targets, he said, if Deebo don't get open, I got to tuck this bitch and run. Deebo didn't get open, and he tucked that hole and he ran. Good for him. Good for him. Because it was rough out there. Jesus. So he tucks it and runs. 14-yard touchdown run. People wanted him to slide for what? He's got it. Touchdown. The Bengals stink on defense. My goodness. I know I've already said that tonight. Man, they stink on defense. Whew. They stink. They are funky. Tie ball game 7 apiece. That was the last time we would see Jaden in the first team offense, which was fine by me. After looking at what we had out there for him to throw the football to, I was like, yeah, I don't need him to go back out there again. You know. Then we kick it off. Colson Yankoff with a great play on. He's making his team, by the way. Like he makes an excellent play on special teams with a great tackle to kind of set the tone for the rest of the game, special teams wise, because that first kickoff return was not it. Then the second one was the best kickoff he had. I'm speaking of Matt Gay. High, inside the 5, which is what you want. And then it forces the return man to wait, catch it, not catch it on a dead sprint. And it allows guys to get closer because he's got to then accelerate. He's not already running at full speed like he did on the first kickoff where he caught it and he was already running towards, the return, the coverage unit, and he almost split him full speed. So after that, Carlin Vigors with another missed tackle. Carlin Vigors. I'm going to try to be nice to him because the jury's still out on whether or not he can actually play the cornerback position. He got a ball sack put on his head and mossed on. We'll get to that a little bit later. This was the Mitchell Tinsley revenge game. Ed Oliver's favorite player, Mitchell Tinsley, went to work tonight. I puts in work. But we'll get to that a little bit later on. Shout out to Mitchell Tinsley, man. Once a family member, always a family member. Vigors missed another tackle. He is contact averse. That's what we're going to call old Carlin Vigors. Mr. Contact averse. He wants no part of any physical altercations. I'm about sick of him too. Luckily enough for him on that play, after missing a tackle and giving up about another 7 yards and a first down, there was a penalty on the play on the Bengals. That helped us out, pushed them behind the sticks. Then Joe Burrow lost his mind for a second, thought he was back at LSU. And this was all started. And I, DA is my guy. That's the guy I'm saying. Everybody's talking about Kinlaw, Von Miller, Frankie Louvu. No, nobody's talking about DA. That's the guy. I said DA rushing against a guard is a cheat code. I want more of it. They lined him up, standing up against the guard, and wouldn't you know it, he won immediately. Got pressure on Joe, forced him to run backwards, sideways. It led to a 17-yard sack. Again, I don't know what the hell Joe Burrow was thinking on that play. Like, bro, it's preseason. Just fall down. What are you doing? So we got a 3 and out there. The penalty really aided us because Carlin Biggers, Mr. Contact Adverse, tried to give up a first down, but luckily enough for them, they had a penalty, and then the defense stood up, and that was it. That was the last we saw the first team defense. So the first team defense was out there for 2 possessions. DA with that pressure, they look good. That pressure was imminent. It was immediate. And they have a plan. You can see it. They have a plan with these guys. They're going to be, if we can get teams to 3rd down and long, I think we're going to be able to get to the we still haven't seen Von Miller, bro. Jacob Martin was good tonight. We're going to talk about him. There were some standout performers tonight. Jacob Martin was one of them. So you continue on. I cussed ESPN out tonight. Just one time. I was cutting up. I was acting up. I'm treating this like, first of all, can y'all tell me if y'all had the same feeling? This just might be me being a nerd. Y'all know I'm nerdy, and I tell y'all that all the time. I'm not ashamed of it either. But did you have butterflies tonight before this game? Because I did. You would have thought this was week 4. Week 2 against Green Bay on Thursday Night Football. I had the pregame show on. They're talking about my team. I'm excited. They're talking about the opening kickoff. You know, they kicked Elisa Salter. She's talking about us. They kicked the Laura Rutledge. She's talking about Cincinnati. And I got these butterflies in the pit of my stomach. I'm like, oh, shit. The first of 9 island games for my favorite team. What a time to be alive. I was feeling like a regular season Monday night game. Don't ask me why. Tell me why. I can't tell you why. But the only reason I bring that up is because I shouldn't have been this mad about the poor coverage from ESPN on this punt, right? So we got them backed up all the way inside their own 5 after Joe Burrow had a ridiculous sack that he took. We try to block the punt. We don't. They get the punt off. And they stay on the punter after he kicks it. They zoom in on the punter. And I'm like, what are you doing? I got my rookie back there. I need to see what's going on. They finally flash the camera back there. He's already caught the ball and he's running down the side. I'm like, what the hell are you doing? I lost my mind for a second. My apologies. That ESPN, you too damn old to be making a rookie mistake. I get it. It's preseason for everybody. I'm going to cut you a break. I was out of pocket because it's preseason for everybody. This is your first telecast of the year. I need to have more grace. That's just my rookie back there. That's all it is. That's my rookie. I need to see what he's doing. And that was a good return. He was tight up against the sideline. Not a lot of space. It was actually a really good angled punt by their punter, Rico. And he catches it, squeezes past that first block, and that really good block on the sideline. That first defender gets about a good gain of 9 or 10. That's a good return. And ESPN effed it up. Thanks, ESPN, for nothing. Anyway, Bill with a run for 6 yards. So first possession was all C-Rod. Second possession, it's the Bill show. The Book of Bill, Chapter 1. 6-yard carry for Bill. A nice 6-yard gain. Like everything he does, we get all excited, right? 6-yard gain. Oh, shit, that was a sick-ass 6-yard gain. Then Jalen Lane for 13. Josh Johnson first off the bench. I said, Josh Johnson first off the bench this week. And they could have just said, hey, Sam was first last week, Josh first this week, right? It might not have been any real thought process behind that other than, Sam, you went first last week. Let's give Josh a chance this week. I'm going to say this right now, but we're going to have evidence, empirical proof of this later. But I'm going to say it right now. Both of our third-string quarterbacks stink. They stink. We don't need to keep a third quarterback. Just like I told you last week, I don't need a 6th receiver. I may be changing my tune. I may be waffling a bit. We'll talk about that a little bit later. I know this for a fact. I don't need A third quarterback on this roster. As much as the rules suggest you should keep a third quarterback because he can be an emergency quarterback without taking up an actual game day spot on your 47 guys, 46, whatever the number is, 46, I think it is. Those guys are dead weight. They stink. Both of them stink. Both of them make stupid decisions. Both of them are turnovers waiting to happen. And look, again, if you get to your third quarterback, it doesn't matter what team you are. You're in trouble anyway. Your season's probably cooked if your third string quarterback's in the game anyhow. But look, Jaden and Marcus better stay healthy all season long because those two guys are terrorists. Those two are domestic terrorists that cannot be on this roster. Neither one of them. That said, really good throw. As I continue to kill Josh Johnson, he actually made a good throw to Jalen Lane. Clean pocket, good throw for 13. This tonight was all about Jalen Lane's coming out party. We got us one, y'all. We got us a receiver. Somebody finally said, hey, it's me. I got it. I'll step up. If you need somebody, we've been crying we need somebody. If you need somebody, I'm here. There used to be a show. I forget what it was called. Listen, if you want somebody, I'm the man. If you need somebody, I'm the man. That's what Jalen Lane said tonight. We've been waiting. He said, I'm the man. Let's go, Jalen. We're going to talk about him a little bit tonight. That was a good 13-yard catch. And then, in the blink of an eye, just like that, the Book of Bill, chapter 1. Touchdown, 27 yards. Again, just like the Chris Rodriguez run, you could have driven a 18-wheeler through that hole. It was enormous. Okay. Shout out to John John damn Bates. He's a bully over there, man. He's a 6th offensive lineman. Shout out to Josh Connolly Jr. for doing human-like work as the kick-out block there. Shout out to Andrew Wiley pulling all the way around and being the ceiling block there. Shout out to Tyler Biotish, that whole right side, and then Andrew Wiley coming over. Shout out to the offensive line. We talked a lot of shit going into the game, not knowing what y'all were going to. And also, shout out to Cincinnati's defense for being atrocious. Damn, they stink. I couldn't be a Bengals fan. As good as Joe Burrow and that offense is, you will lose sleep most nights because of that defense. God, they are bad. Made us feel like we got about 2,000-yard rushers. If you just watch the first 2 possessions, you got 2,000-yard rushers. I wish we played Cincinnati's defense every week. So Bill gets the 27-yard touchdown run, and all the Commanders fans are going nuts. That's my boy. That's the guy right there. That's our guy, Bill. B.I. Double is in the building. Stand up, B.I. Double. Hell yeah. He get up. Roll them dice, baby. They hot. Roll them, baby. He forgot to get the football. No worries. 5 to the rescue. He went and got his football for him. What a guy. So 14-7, Commanders take the lead. That was the last fun of the night. Really, we didn't score again till the field goal to start the second half. But it was fun while it lasted. And you know what? We're still in the first quarter. The first quarter was so much fun. The first quarter felt like a full game. They could have stopped the game after the first quarter. So then, nice play by Percy Butler on a swing screen to bring up a third down. That was a great job by Percy, fighting through a block, getting into the backfield and making a tackle. Good to see that. That brought up a third down. And then Dietrich Wise had the penalty, the personal foul horse collar. And when I tell you Dietrich, first of all, it was 3rd and long. They would have had to punt the football. Drive would have been over. Dietrich Wise was hot. He lost his mind for a second. And I'm like, bro, Dietrich, that was a penalty, bro. You weren't in the pocket anymore. That you can't sling him down by his nameplate. That's a penalty, bro. I don't know why he was so upset. Probably because he doesn't get a lot of sacks. But he went off to the sideline and they had to calm him down. I know you've seen the assistant defensive line coach, Sharif Floyd, over there. Yo, whoa, calm down. He was looking for the official. That's my vegan brother in arms. So I was like, yo, somebody calm him down. Somebody calm him down. He wanted all the smoke, bro. He was hot. I'm like, Dietrich, that's a penalty, bro. That's a penalty in all 50 states. I don't really know what you upset about. So that obviously that led to the drive staying alive. And like I said, both of the Bengals touchdown drives with Burrow in the game were really heavily assisted by penalties. Revo ends the first quarter with a great open field tackle, which was just beautiful. Revo plays so fast that there's no way he's going to break down and make the tackle. And he, typical Revo fashion, arrived on the scene violently, but slid right past the guy, but grabbed that ankle and wouldn't let that shit go. And great tackle by him to force a fourth down. But just like we did on the first possession, that's the end of the first quarter right there. 14-7. A lot happened in that first quarter. But they go for it on fourth down. And I wrote this in my notes at that time. It got worse for him. I told you I'm going to be mean tonight. I tried to be nice to this guy. He was the butt of jokes initially. And I said, he's a Spartan. Let me back off a little bit and be nice. Behold the green and gold. Behold the green and gold no more. Bobby Price stinks. He stinks. God, he stinks. He gave up a slant to Charlie Jones. You would have thought Charlie Jones ran a 4-1-7 with how far back on fourth down and 5 Bobby Price is playing. Everybody's uptight. Everybody else is uptight. Bobby Price is playing down by the goal line as he runs the slant. And then misses the tackle. Bobby Price was cooked. He was filleted. He was sauteed. This man was on a skillet. He was on an open fire the entire night. Then another damn holding penalty by Dietrich Wise. I said, Dietrich, it's been a rough night. You probably should go have a seat. And that was it for him. That holding penalty negated a good defensive play. It was Kane Madrano. It was Noah Igbenogany for a no gain on a run that would have set up a second down and 10, which was exactly what the defense needed. And then he got a holding penalty. What are you doing holding on the backside of a run to the opposite side of the field? What are you doing, my man? What are you doing? Yeah, I said it's time for you to have a seat tonight. So again, the penalties were a problem tonight. I don't know the exact number, but I imagine when I finally look at it, I'm going to be appalled because it's going to be 7, 8, or 9 penalties for 78, 88, or 93 yards or something like that, which is unacceptable, right? Iggy, so the general had great coverage, but it was just a great throw to Charlie Jones. Like you can't defend the perfect pass. We talk about that all the time. That happened a little bit later in the game, right before half, after Sam Hartman, who we're going to talk about here in a second, came in. And Burrow's best throw of the night by far. Touchdown. Like Bobby Price should have probably got a little bit more depth there to disrupt that, but it just was a great thread throw by Joe Burrow. Like it's what he does. That's why he's one of them ones, right? That was it for him on the night. 9 of 14, 62 yards, a touchdown. I thought we acquitted. We really played well, I thought, against Burrow. Look, I was disappointed that we didn't get more of, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins. But we made Burrow work for everything he got. So 14 all. They could have stopped the game right there. Honestly, I didn't need any more. But of course, C-Rod with a 9-yard run. It was another nice run. It was another big hole too. But it was another nice run from C-Rod, 9 yards. Then they fumbled a snap, right? And that was Josh Johnson. Again, he stinks. He's 39 years old. This should be it for him, honestly. The ball went right through his hands. It was a little high snap from Julian Good-Jones, but nothing he shouldn't have been able to handle. He took his eyes off the snap, went through his hands. He had to recover it. So that turned a 2nd and 1 into a 3rd and 9. But he finds Jalen Lane for a 16-yard catch. And again, Jalen Lane. We're going to talk about Jalen Lane. That young fella had himself a night, right? So he moved the sticks. C-Rod then had a delayed draw handoff that went for 11. He just continued to eat throughout the course of the night. And then KJ Osborne for 9. So I said I was, waffling about keeping a 6th receiver. If they are going to keep a 6th receiver, I think it's KJ Osborne. KJ can return punts. You don't really have another guy on this roster that is a punt returner that you trust. So keeping KJ around makes sense from that. Again, they want guys with versatility. Like Michael Gallup serves no other purpose than being a receiver, which is why he's not going to make this roster, because Michael Gallup don't do shit else. And right now he's not really good at playing receiver. So I don't see Michael Gallup factoring into this equation. Right now, KJ Osborne served just like, Jeremy McNichols. KJ Osborne serves more of a purpose because he can do something else. So he had a nice little 9-yard catch for a first down, or it set up like 2nd and 1, and C-Rod ended up picking up the first down. I think KJ Osborne is your 6th receiver if they keep a 6th receiver. I'm still of the mindset that right now a 6th receiver is not necessary. But if you were to keep one, I think KJ Osborne makes a ton of sense. He was here last year. I think they like him a lot. I know he can play football. Unlike Michael Gallup, who I'm not sure has it anymore, I know KJ Osborne can play football. So I do, and he was in quite early in this game. I do think KJ Osborne is that 6th receiver if there were to be one. That's how I feel right now. But, we'll see what happens. So after that, we're moving the football. We're in the Bengals territory. I was saying, this is the perfect possession if we don't punch it in for Matt Gay to have to come on and kick a 51-yard field goal. We were right in that neighborhood of where he'd had to kick, a significantly long field goal, which is what we want to see if we're not going to score a touchdown. Like, the worst thing you could do is get all the way down to the 11-yard line and then have to settle for a field goal. Like, that's not testing him. If you're going to force him to kick a field goal, it might as well be 49, 51, 53 yards. Let's see what he does. We were right in that position, and then Josh Johnson goes rogue. And I had it with him at that point, because this was so uncalled for. Like, what are you doing, dude? He was playing really solid up until that point. And this is the problem with Josh Johnson. Every time you start to get comfortable and you let your guard down, you're like, you know what? Josh Johnson ain't half bad. He goes and he does some shit like that where you just go, man, just get off the field, man. Don't even say nothing. Don't even look at me, bro. Just get off the field. And that corner route was never there. I don't know why he decided to anticipate that throw. That receiver was getting molested. He just threw it up for grab. That was the worst pass set of the night for Josh Connolly Jr. So in his defense, there was a defender in his lap. Well, run, bro. There was nobody out on the right side. Just take off and run, bro. Move out of the way, reset your feet, bro. Anything but just stand there and just loft it up for the safety to go run under it like a damn punt and catch the shit. Kind of boneheaded decision was that? And you just go, I can't with these dudes, man. That was the last real drive we had of the night until the second half. But even that drive, the only reason I even cared about that drive was Bill, to be honest with you. So that really sucked because that we had an offensive rhythm up until that point. It's like that sucked the life out of our offense, and we never had any rhythm. And I told you a lot of times in these preseason games, once you get to a certain point in the game, you then say, all right, let's get the hell out of here. We accomplished everything we needed to accomplish. Let's run the ball. Let's keep this clock running, and let's get out of here, right? So I put in my notes, Carlin Vigors is contact adverse because there was a nice run that was a reverse field run by Taj Brooks, their rookie running back out of Texas Tech, where it was a great edge set by linebacker Duke Riley. He blows up, it either was the tight end or the tackle on that side, blows it up to the point where Taj Brooks has to stop his feet. And there's all these commander defenders, and nobody seems to be able to get to Taj Brooks. He then reverses field, and it kind of set up everybody to just, put a body on a body as every commander was trying to stop, turn, change directions, and redirect. Cleveland Farrell got depleted on that play. I was like, damn, Clee. 2 seconds ago, you was the man, Clee. The F happened to you. He ain't see him. Head wasn't on a swivel. He got lit up. And then Carlin Vigors had a chance to maybe dive, and the dude just kind of got a piece of him, and Carlin was like, yeah, I'm good. Yeah, I'm going to sit this one out. So Noah Iguanagani had to come over there and escort him out of bounds, but after like a 14-yard gain on a total field reversal, I'm over Carlin Vigors right now. Then he made it worse with the touchdown he gave up at the end of the half to Mitchell Tinsley, which we're about to get to here in a second. Sam Hartman comes in the game after we force a punt. They pin us deep in our own territory. It's the 2-minute, situation. We right before halftime. We're like, all right, Sam, first action, they're going to give him a chance to run the 2-minute. Let's see what he does. I'm going to say that he wasn't put in the best position to succeed. I thought Cliff should have called a shot right there because the corner was clearly squatting because Jalen Lane had already run 2 successful comebacks in the game, and so did KJ Osborne on the opposite side of the field. So they were squatting on comebacks. That was the time to run a go route right past that corner who was squatting. You'd have caught him napping, right? But Cliff ran another comeback. They were sitting on it. The corner jumps it, and Sam almost threw a pick on his first pass attempt. I just looked at Sam with the most incredulous look on my face like, you are as funky as some dirty draws. You stink. Like some doo-doo stained draws. You are ass. Straight cheeks. The next play, they run the ball, 3rd down. Sam, has another just dangerous throw where you go, get off the field, man. Just go. Just like, I'm like, bring Josh Johnson back. But he just did some dumb shit. At this point, put B. Mitch or somebody at quarterback. I don't know. I'm sick of both of these dudes at this point. I mean, that was a really piss poor 3-and-out. And Sam Hartman I put in my notes, Sam Hartman comes in and promptly goes 3-and-out with 2 bad pass attempts. One was almost picked up. The first one easily could have been picked up, right? So Clee gets pressure to force a fumble. It was picked up by Duke Riley. He ran in the end zone. They ultimately overturned it, said it was incomplete. And then Jacob Martin literally took over, right? Unfortunately, Bobby Price is still on the field. And anytime a receiver is going up against Bobby Price, guess what? The price is always right. The price is always right for the receiver. Jacob Martin beats the tackle off the snap, quick with hands, turns the corner, and before he could even get to the quarterback, corner route on Bobby Price. Wasted Jacob Martin rush. The shit was epic too. But you know how I feel about Jacob Martin. I told you the talent is there. It made a tear almost welled up and came down my face. I was so excited. But he said, hey, Louie T, I'm not done. Remember that inside move I've been working on that they've been talking about in camp? Yeah, that crossover. Watch this. Watch this. Next snap. He jumps inside of the tackle. He jumps 2 gaps inside. Beats the tackle, beats the guard, inside, cross their face, right up the A-gap. He's in his face. And they throw the ball to they throw the ball to Mitchell Tinsley, who just caught the last pass. Throw it to him again. Bobbles it, catches it with one hand, and I'm like, hey, Jake, good shit, bro. If you're done for the night, you cool with me, bro. I've seen enough. Y'all know I have seen the light, baby. Once you understand what Jacob Martin was doing, darling. If y'all saw what Jacob did on them 2 plays, you would have said, I've seen enough, Jacob. This pass rush has a chance to be problematic this season. I love one-on-one wins. Those are great because, twists and stunts, those can't be replicated. You can win some. They pass it off well. You don't win. It's just a bunch of dudes flying around, but not actually collapsing the pocket or applying pressure. But one-on-one individual whoop ass, that shit is you can replicate that over and over and over again. Dorrance winning against a guard, you can replicate that. Jacob Martin beating the tackle 2 snaps in a row, you can replicate that. I'm going to tell you right now, after Jacob Martin, those other defensive linemen, no pass rush at all. Okay. None of them backup dudes do anything but, collapse the pocket, stop the run a little bit, but don't look for no pass rush from none of them other dudes, which is fine because the other guys that are frontliners, again, this is where that depth we talk about, we ain't got it. We ain't got it. You know how Philadelphia can go to their bench and pull a dude off there that might could start for another team? We ain't got it. Our frontline guys got to be good, and then you can pull 1 or 2 dudes off the bench, and they might be able to give you a little something, but we ain't got it. It would have been nice for Javonte to be getting some reps right now. This would have been invaluable time to see what he could do. Unfortunately, he's hurt. Be nice if he could play in the 3rd preseason game. Give me a reason to watch the 3rd preseason because right now, there really ain't many reasons to watch that 3rd preseason game because I don't think Bill is playing in that game, honestly. Anyway, I put in my notes, great rush by Jacob Martin. Bobby Price is cooked again. Another Jacob Martin rush, a one-handed snag by Mitchell Tinsley. This was the Mitchell Tinsley revenge game. Shout out to Ed Oliver's favorite wide receiver of all time. And then I put in my notes, Mitchell Tinsley revenge game continues as he continues to fillet Bobby Price. Back shoulder fake, great catch. Excellent throw, even better catch. Wasn't terrible coverage from Bobby Price, but he stinks. I'm not giving him the benefit of the doubt. He had no idea where the ball was. Hell of a spinning pirouette snag by Mitchell Tinsley. It's 21-14. Sam Hartman, I put in my notes, stinks. Dookie draws. Hartman comes in and immediately throws a pick. And Troitman tried to give the linebacker on that play credit. Don't give him no credit. Yeah, he stopped, turned, pivot, and Sam Hartman threw the ball. It was the same pick he threw in camp. This is the shit I have an issue with. When you making the same mistakes over and over again, that's what coaches can't stand. It's the same pick he threw to Kay Madrano in camp when he basically threw the ball right to Kay Madrano. Where you go, yo, Sam, what the hell you doing, bro? Like, it's a sit-down route. The tight end is just put it on him. He threw the bitch a yard behind him. The linebacker was like, oh, shit, don't mind if I do. I appreciate this, man. I really do. Mama, I'm on TV. He just threw me the ball. I'm on TV, mama. Hey. You're a disgrace, Sam Hartman. And I wanted you to make this roster so bad. But hey, at this point, I don't even know if I want him on the practice squad. But we need him for morale. So I'm in a tough spot because I'm like, you can't take Jaden's basketball pregame warm-up guy from him. And he's the team jester, right? Every time they have the little camera, they're walking inside. Sam Hartman always says something funny. Whatever Jaden Daniels does, some crazy, stupid shit. We like him too much. But maybe Rio was right. Maybe the hair is gone and the aura is gone and he needs to grow his shit back out. I don't know. Because he is funky. It's time to get funky, 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 funky. That interception, I was like, bro, if we just run it the rest of the game between him and Josh Johnson, I'm good. For real, I'm good. Mitchell Tinsley on, like, that's a hell of a catch, bro. Like, I was cussing out Carlin Vigors because I'm like, bro, you see it. You're right there. You're 6'2", bro. He mistimed his jump very badly. And it was a great throw and an even better catch. But if he just times his jump up better than that, at worst, it's a pass breakup. At best, he could have picked it off himself. But it's Carlin Vigors. Like, he went undrafted for a reason. Mitchell Tinsley, that's an incredible moss job. Right? Get both feet down. That shit was gorgeous. 28-14, that's the halftime score in this game. It was rough, but I digress. I'm going to take a quick moment to just shout out Chubby's here, man. We're getting close to the NFL, and the great people over at Chubby's sent me this shirt, man. This joint is dope. It's breathable. It's light. I can wear this anywhere. It's a little bit chilly in the house, as I always tell y'all, but it's not like super cold tonight because it wasn't really cold outside today. We were in the 70s today. So this is the perfect shirt for this. Like if I'm outside on the grill, I could throw this shirt on and I'm gonna feel great. Sunny outside, I'm on the grill, got my Commander shirt on. I'm repping my squad. I'm chopping it up with my neighbor. I had the shirt on, chopping it up with my neighbor across the street. They know I'm a Commanders fan. And if you don't know, now you know, because I got my Chubbies, polo on. And you could be a jersey guy, right? I'm not a jersey guy. Yeah, I told y'all that already. I might have to cop one of those, championship jerseys, but I'm not a jersey guy. So give me one of these right here. Give me a Chubbies polo right here so I can rep my favorite squad and show y'all where my allegiance lies, right? For a limited time, you can use the exclusive code Louie Tee, all right, to get $10 off at chubbiesshorts.com/Louie Tee, all right? Yes, that includes the entire NFL collection, all right? Chubbies is the ultimate football apparel brand, so much so they created their own fantasy football league. George Kittle, who has an entire tour bus for Chubbies. I don't know if you guys have seen it. It's super dope, right? Ian Rappaport and others have come together to assemble the Chubbies League on NFL Fantasy. Each week, the top 5 scorers will win a chance at Chubbies, at a Chubbies polo/shorts. They've sent me shorts as Chubbies, and I've shown y'all those shorts before. Matter of fact, I had those. I just went to an all-white party this weekend, a surprise party for my cousin. It was an all-white party, and I wore my Chubbies shorts. They were a hit at the party. All right. So you had a chance to win a polo/short combo with your favorite team's logo on it. In this case, I'm repping the Commanders. Y'all know what it is. The grand champion gets the chance at the ultimate fan experience, a 5-city, 5-stadium NFL game tour with a +1. So you get to bring somebody with you. While the fantasy flop faces a hilarious and unforgettable punishment only Chubbies could pull off. Head to chubbiesshorts.com/the Chubbies League to learn more and have some fun. All right. Get ready for the most outrageous fantasy football season of your life. And a lot of these leagues be having the losers do some incredibly degrading stuff. I got a feeling Chubby's is going to be up there at the top of the list. All right. And would you look at that, folks? For a limited time, our friends over at Chubby's are giving our listeners $10 off with the promo code Louie Tee at chubbyshorts.com/Louie Tee. That's $10 off your order with the promo code Louie Tee. That includes the NFL Connect collection, which is what I'm sporting right here. All right. Support this show and tell them that your man Louie Tee sent you. All right. So level up your game day with the Chubby's wardrobe. So let's get to the comment section and talk about some guys. And you know what? There's still a little bit. Let me just finish this off, and then I want to talk about some guys that flashed for me. I've talked about all the guys that stink tonight, guys that I was just not impressed with at all. And then I want to talk about the guys that stood out, and then we're going to get to the comment section. So you start the second half, because there really wasn't a lot of notes from the second half. At that point, the game became uninteresting, really. You know, once Bill was out of the game and you could see where the game was heading, I was good, right? Kickoff return by Jalen Lane, that was unimpressive. He ran up the back of his return man. Maybe he's not a kickoff return guy. Maybe he's a punt return guy, and that's okay, right? We got guys that can return kickoffs on this roster. So I'd like to see him, you know, get a couple more opportunities and cracks at it to see if that's something that he may be better at, but he may not be a kickoff return guy, you know. We'll see. But that wasn't a great return. I wasn't impressed. B.I. double with a beautiful 11-yard run. I said, oh, he about to get his shit off against these second/third stringers of the Bengals. And then he had a 5-yard loss, and it just went downhill from there. The run blocking with that unit that was on the field with him was disgusting. All right. Bobby Hart and McKay, Tim McKay, and you know, thanks for making me right, Jaden. We all know none of them dudes can run block for real. I mean, it was a shit show. They were in the backfield 2 and 3 at a time. Then he had a catch in the flats for 3 yards. Hartman with a poor throw on 3rd and 5 to Jalen Lane, who was open. Threw it behind him on like a slant over the middle in the slot. Brings up 4th down. Tay Martin, though, with a beautiful 4th down conversion for 16 yards on a corner route in cover 2. So that was the best throw of the night for Sam Hartman by far and away. Then I put down in my notes, damn, great catch by Jalen Lane on 3rd and 5 for 14 yards. It's a diving stab with a defender draped all over him. It was another really good ball from Sam Hartman, but an even better catch by Jalen Lane. That was an excellent ball from Sam Hartman too, but that was an even better catch by Jalen Lane. It just continues to show what this guy can do. Then you had a false start by Bobby Hart, which forced a field goal instead of a 4th down attempt that we were going to try on 4th and 3. So that made it 28-17, and that was really the last time we had a chance to score in the game. Rob McDaniel with a nice one-hand stab at the football, almost picked it off. That was a gorgeous play by him, kind of backpedaling, showing off the athleticism. It would have been dope if he could have come down with it, but you know, there's something there with him. He made some other plays where he flashed in the run game, came down and hit some people. I think he can play. Like, to me, he's one of those dudes that I think absolutely should be in the mix for a practice squad spot. Like one of the guys you want to continue to work with, watching him in this game. And then I put down, and I've already told you this, so I don't need to belabor this point, but I put down in all caps, both third-string quarterbacks stink after another near interception thrown by Josh Johnson. I was so sick of them. And that was the last note that I took for the game. After that, I was like, yeah, I'm done. Like, I don't have any more patience for either one of those dudes, right? So let's talk about some standouts. So off the top of the dome, because I didn't write down guys that stood out. I probably should have, but you know, while it's fresh in my mind, I think the guy that to me impressed me the most tonight was Jalen Lane. I thought that he had a fantastic showing tonight, and we've been talking about him as a return man, and rightfully so. I think he had a nice punt return tonight too. And I think that's going to be something that he, continues to excel at, and is going to help this team, as a punt returner. But we need somebody to step up at receiver. And Luke McCaffrey was out there. I don't even think Luke McCaffrey got a target, bro. Like, again, we'd have to watch the film. Luke could have been open on every single play. I doubt it, seriously. There's a reason he's not even getting targeted. Same with Ben Sinnott. Like, you gotta, I think Ben, his situation is a little bit different because I don't even think they checking for him, honestly. But honestly, that's why I'm trying to cut Luke some slack. Same with Ben. These quarterbacks ain't getting anybody the football anyway. Like, Luke got targeted once. He was blanketed. I don't even know why the ball was thrown to him. And then I don't think Luke got a single target tonight. But it really don't matter. Neither one of these dudes are any good at the quarterback position that was playing tonight. The two backups. So I don't know if you can really put that on those guys or not. But to not get a target, at least if you're Luke, no catches for Ben Simmons in a game where there's no Zach Ertz. Now, keep in mind, I haven't looked at the numbers. I'm not sure that either one of these quarterbacks threw for 100 yards. It was bad. They stink. So, Jalen Lane stuck out amongst a bunch of mediocrity, and you got to give him credit for what he was able to show us tonight, because we've been asking, if we're totally healthy at the receiver position, and you got Terry as your one, and you got Debo as your two, and you got Noah as your three, who's the fourth guy? Well, I think we've got our answer tonight. It's Jalen Lane. It's Jalen Lane. I think we got our answer tonight. He looks good. And he made some tough catches tonight. He took some contact and he held on to the football. He played his ass off tonight and gave us a good return in the punt game. I thought he was at the top of the pile. If you're talking about, standout performances. Chris Rodriguez obviously didn't have to do much. Just run straight, Chris. But I thought he took advantage of the opportunity, which is what he did last year. To his credit, he took advantage of his opportunities last season. Every time he got one, he took advantage. And that's what he did tonight. 6 carries, over 60 yards, the big 40-yard run, had another 11-yard run on a delayed draw handoff. He was really good, was Chris Rodriguez. Bill, I thought, was really good again. Given the circumstances, he looked good. Solid. The second half was rough for him, especially that third quarter when he was in there before Kaz Allen came. It was rough because the blocking just wasn't up to par, right? But ultimately, when he got a little bit of space, I thought he did a little something. He usually makes the first guy miss, even on a play where there were like 3 Bengals in the backfield. He made the first guy miss, and then there were like 2 other Bengals waiting on him. There's nothing he could do. But he's very elusive. I was sick. There was a throw out into the flats by, I want to say it was probably Josh Johnson. No, it was Hartman. I think this was in the third quarter, where there's a linebacker out there, and I wanted him to make that linebacker miss. He should have spun. He tried to stop and let him go by, and the guy wrapped him up. And if he would have spun, I think he would have made a miss. But outside of that, I thought he made the most of his touches for the most part tonight. Obviously, the 27-yard run was huge, but he had another run of like 9 yards, another run of 6 yards. So there was some really solid runs in there. So I thought overall he showed a lot of the quickness and the things that we want to see from him. John Bates was phenomenal tonight. John Bates, helmet sticker for him. He was fantastic in the run game. Again, he serves as that extra lineman. You don't hear his name called often as a pass catcher, but what he does in the run game cannot be undersold. It cannot be dismissed. It cannot be overlooked. He is such a huge part of what they do up front. And that's why he got an extension, or a contract rather, this offseason. He was phenomenal. I thought the offensive line, the starting group, the right side in particular, was tremendous. From Biotish over, Allegretti, solid job. I thought Biotish was outstanding tonight. I thought Josh Connolly was fantastic. I want to go back and watch him specifically, but they won't make no noise over there, man. Like, and again, Cincinnati stinks too. So take it with a grain of salt. But that's what you do. I always say, like, you can't help who the opponent is and how they play. All you can do is if they trash, dominate them. That's what they did. They dominated them boys up front. So shout out to them. Whereas a wise man once said, credit to them. Credit to them. So I think that Dorrance Armstrong had a good showing. I thought Javon Kinlaw had a solid showing. Jacob Martin flashed big time for me yet again. And I needed to see that from him. I did. He had a solid game last week. I thought he followed that up with another performance where you go, hell yeah, Jacob, hell yeah. Quan Martin, I thought looked good. I actually was impressed with the safeties. All three of them. Really, four of them, right? If you throw in Rob McDaniel, five of them, right? Because Will Harris had the pass breakup in the end zone on the slant, which was gorgeous. Quan Martin had a couple of nice tackles, but none bigger than the one down by the goal line to force the fourth down. You had Jeremy Reeves with some good tackling, especially the third down open field tackle to bring up the fourth down. And then I thought that Tyler Owens did some solid things coming up in run support, but he's still late in coverage. He gave up a corner route down inside the red zone, but he's just always late in pass coverage. I don't think he reads what's going on fast enough and reacts to it. And so he's always a step late in the pass game, it feels like. But I felt like he was coming down aggressively in this game and hitting people down around the line of scrimmage. So that was good to see. I thought Kay Madrano was really solid. I liked what I saw from him early. I'm going to go back and watch him specifically to see what he was doing. But I thought he was where he was supposed to be when he was supposed to be there early in the game when the starters were in particular. Let me see if there's anybody else that really caught my eye. I think that's about it. But let me give a shout out to, Chris Paul. He kept it awfully quiet. Again, it's Cincinnati. Take it with a grain of salt, but he kept it awfully quiet. I mean, he did what he was supposed to do. There were no issues. There were no penalties. There were no, offensive line breakdowns. He was where he's supposed to be. He had a great block on one of those runs where he was a puller, and that ain't his thing. But he pulled and he put a body on a body. And Andrew Wiley, like I said, he was really good. I just thought the offensive line overall did a really good job of controlling the line of scrimmage. We had to have rushed for, over 170 yards in this game, is my guess. I mean, it slowed down significantly in the second half. We were on pace to rush for over 200. And then, the third team offensive line came in and just stunk it up. So I don't know if we even made it to 170, but we probably eclipsed 150. C-Rod himself had 60-something. Bill had 40-something. I think between the two of them, you're looking at 100 and about 10 yards roughly. And then Jaden had 14 rushing. And then, you combine J Mac and Hartman's runs. He had a couple of nice runs. And Kaz at the end. And you probably got to 150-something, 160-something yards on the ground. So it's a solid night. And the offensive line deserves some credit for that. So Debo in his one touch, was really good. I want to shout him out too, but you're really disappointed in the secondary, the backup secondary guys. But again, I don't really fret too much over guys who aren't going to be a part of this when it's all said and done. You just wanted more from guys like Luke McCaffrey, Ben Sinnott, and some of those guys that you just keep looking for something. Give me signs of life. And again, I cut them somewhat of a break, maybe because I'm an optimist and I want to believe that there's more there than meets the eye, because the quarterbacks they're playing with aren't worth a damn. But it's another game, and it's another day where we basically I have a ton of confidence in Ben Sinnott still. Tons of confidence. Luke, I don't know, man. I'm still going to continue to give him a chance, but it's been too many people that's been beating that drum. And I think that's why I keep trying to come to his defense. It's too many people that have been beating the drum of this man was I don't want to say nepotism because he's not family of anybody here, but they definitely, Adam Peters is definitely close with the McCaffrey family. And so they kind of see it as a solid being done to the McCaffreys. He isn't dispelling that notion right now, but I digress. So let's get to the comment section, man. Let's get to the comment section, see what y'all talking about, and we'll get out of here. So Colin Talk Sports, been a member for 10 months. Really appreciate you, writes. Any chance we can trade B-Rob to get Tinsley back? No. Joe Burrow, you heard what Joe Burrow said. And what Joe Burrow wants, Joe Burrow gets. And he said, hopefully, Jamal Tinsley, look at me talking about NBA players. Mitchell Tinsley, hopefully he locked up his roster spot tonight. That's what Joe Burrow said. So I think he is probably going to end up on that roster one way or another. And we always thought Mitchell Tinsley could play, just not at a high level in this league, but we always thought he's an NFL player. I don't think any of us, when he was here, didn't think he could play in the NFL. We all thought he could play in the NFL, but he looks really comfortable. He looks like he looks polished and refined. He looks like a guy. It might have taken him a little bit longer to get to that point where he should be playing on Sundays, but he looks like he's ready. Like they said, I don't know if it was the halftime show or Joe Buck and Troy Aikman, but they said those are Sunday catches he made tonight. Them ain't practice squad, them ain't preseason Thursday, Friday night, Saturday night. Those are Sunday catches that he made tonight. Them big boy catches. So shout out to Mitchell Tinsley, man. Ed's favorite receiver of all time. Shout out to Mitchell Tinsley. And it was his revenge game. And he got his shit off tonight. And that hair is thriving too. That ain't the same Mitchell Tinsley that left here. Totally different dude, man. That's a different swag he got going on right now. Scarence Terrence, been a member for 46 months. Salute. Who writes, gotta say, defensive depth, non-existent. I wouldn't say it's non-existent. It's just not a ton of it. Like, you got to remember, Jonathan Jones ain't been healthy, so he ain't played. So now you got to see Carlin Vigors a lot sooner. He would have been out. Jonathan Jones would have been out there with Noah Igbenogany, giving Noah some help instead of it being Carlin Vigors on one side and Bobby Price on the other side. You can't win like that. You can't win like that. But yeah, no, the defensive, depth isn't great. We talked about that though. That got proven last week that from 1 to 30, I've already said this, from 1 to 30 or so, we can compete with anybody in the league. We got enough, top half of the roster talent that we can compete with anybody. Obviously with 5 under center, you compete with anybody. The problem is from 31 to 53, it ain't a lot there. It's a bunch of Jags for the most part. So in saying that, you got to keep the 1 through 30 relatively healthy this season if you are to have a shot. So, yeah, it is what it is. Loser the Redskins fan, thank you for being a member. Stand up. You are the newest member of the MOBB Mob. You know what to do show. Loser the Redskins fan, some love and what it's like to be a part of the best squad in the land, the MOBB. Welcome to the squad. Loser the Redskins fan. And let me take this opportunity too to shout out some real MVPs. This is why we cultivated this family that we've created, the mob, and all the love that we have for each other. You can't go to the game, and I made it abundantly clear. If you can't go to the game, don't let the tickets go to waste. Put Commanders' butts in seats. That's what we all about here. You can't complain about, and can I say this? Early in the game, When Jaden was in the game, when the first team, the stadium was lit. That shit was turned for a preseason game. When the last time you heard this stadium that turned and that lit for a preseason game? It was loud. You heard with Joe Buck and Troy Aikman, they was like, yo, this don't feel like a preseason game. Early in that game, he was like, whoa. When Jaden scored that touchdown, that shit was loud. They were like, whoa. So shout out to everybody that provided tickets to the mob. So I want to give out some love real quick. Shout out to my guy JB. Let me get the name of my guy this morning that I was chopping it up with. Shout out to my guy. Let me get his name right now. Will Amir. Shout out to my guy, Will Amir. Shout out to my guy, JB. And shout out to my guy, Command OGJ. All provided the kid with tickets to bless you guys, donated their tickets to the mob, and I made sure all of those tickets got in the hands of Commanders fans. So shout out to all of you who donated. And if you got tickets to the Ravens game on Saturday, you're not going to be able to go. You want to make sure Commanders fans are in the building. And what you got to also understand, most season ticket holders not interested in preseason games. That's cool. There are people who have never been to a game that would love to go to a football game. No matter who's playing, who ain't out there, who is out there, they just want to be in that environment. You ain't going? Bless somebody with the tickets. That's what I'm all about. So shout out to all of y'all who blessed people with tickets, man. That's why I love y'all, because y'all get it. And shout out to Command OGJ, my guy JB, and Will Amir for blessing all of the mob members with tickets, man. It's a beautiful thing. I was able to really make some people's day with some of these tickets, man. Somebody was, on I think it was Mental Fortitude that we were able to bless him with some tickets, and he was able to go. And so shout out to everybody that donated, man. Really, really love what we've created here for sure. Ethan Dykes, thank you for being a member of the MOBB for 12 months. Look at you. 1 year anniversary. Congratulations. Who writes, they started Medrano over McGee. Interesting. No, McGee's hurt. McGee was out of the game. Remember, DQ told us probably Thursday, I think it was, that, he gave us the list of guys that would be out of this game. And McGee was one of the guys that was out. So Medrano got the start. TJ Ryder, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate it. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Shout out to my guy, TJ Ryder. Captain Obvious, thank you for being a member of the MOBB. And thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, Joe Buck listened to your show last night. He called JCM Bill Krosky married. I know. It's really disappointing, man. And I'm trying to school the white people on how nicknames work, because it's always the whites that mess this up. You saw on the sideline, Lisa Salters just called him Bill. She didn't call him Bill Krosky Merritt. She just called him Bill, because that's his nickname. It's just Bill. It's either Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt or it's Bill. And the white people struggle with the fact that you don't substitute the nickname in for his first name and call his whole name. You just call him Bill. Damn it. Come on, white people. This is not hard. I'm trying to school him. I tried to school John Comey, still calling him Bill Krosky Merritt. I'm like, damn it, John. I can't put up with this type of incompetence. Yeah. I said, and Joe's going to call him Bill Krosky Merritt at least 3-4 more times too. And he did. And every time it was like fingernails on a chalkboard. And anyway, I digress. Epic Games Jacob Channel. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, I think Rodriguez is taking Robinson's place. That's an interesting conversation. I was talking to myself watching this game. And I said, I wonder if they're going to keep 4 running backs now. Because I'm looking at the quarterback situation. I'm like, you don't need 3 quarterbacks. This is the same declaration I made last week with the receivers. I came to this, ultimate conclusion that I'm good with 5 receivers. I don't need 6. If you need the spot, don't waste your time with another receiver. You don't need to do it. Every one of them dudes that you claim you like at receiver, put them on the practice squad. You don't need to give them a roster spot. Same thing can be said with the quarterback situation. If you go around the league and you see a young quarterback you like, go get him. Like, ain't neither one of these dudes worth a damn. They definitely ain't worth a roster spot. So you doing all this configuring to figure out how do we keep 4 tight ends, 4 running backs, 6 linebackers. Easy. Don't keep 6 receivers. Keep 5. Don't keep 3 quarterbacks. Keep 2. And now you trimming off fat at certain places. And if you could trim off some fat at quarterback, you could add that fat on to the running back position. And right now, I could easily see a situation where it's Bill, Eck, J-Mac, C-Rod, and you just keep 4. I can see a situation where you keep 3 and C-Rod's on the practice squad and you just pull them up, right, when you need them. But I don't think what he did tonight is changing anybody's mind. Like, oh, shit, we got to protect C-Rod. If we cut him, we won't get him back. Like, I don't think he did anything special necessarily tonight. So I think you can cut C-Rod and still get him back on the practice squad. And you can have him at your disposal whenever you need him. But yes, to your point, Rodriguez is Robinson's place, taking his place in terms of what he provides the offense. He's the big physical battering ram running back. I don't know if, and I think you might be actually saying like he's taking his place in terms of he's the number 1 running back. I don't think that's what this is. I don't think that's what this is, but we'll see. Shit just got interesting, Shit just got interesting for sure. I still think it's Bill's job. The book of Bill is where we at right now. Ethan Dykes. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. My guy, Ethan Dykes, writes, those big runs in the beginning, 3 words, John at mother effing Bates. John damn Bates. He says, I know it's preseason, but we strangely look off compared to last year. Less disciplined, or is it just me? No, we look less disciplined right now. Penalties were an issue for this team early in the season. As we got, into the season, we got better. Remember the Giants game in week 2? How many penalties we had? How many times we shot ourselves in the foot? Like the Tampa game, the rare 3 penalties on 1 play, the rare triple crown from Emmanuel Forbes, where he got, I know he got a pass interference and a personal foul face mask on the same play. I wanted to say it was like a legal contact on him too or some shit, all on the same play. Like, we were a very undisciplined team early in the season. We weren't good against Tampa. We were horrible against the Giants in week 2, almost lost us the game because we couldn't stop shooting ourselves in the foot with penalties in the red zone. It wasn't until week 3 against Cincinnati that we cut the penalties out and we started to play cleaner football. So this was an issue last year at the beginning. Maybe it's the same thing this year. We've been really sloppy to start. No question about it. But yeah, John damn Bates. He was a problem tonight in the run game. But he's a problem in the run game all the time. John Perez, my guy, JP, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, 5 looks like an MVP candidate and Debo looks good. I mean, look, Five's our guy, but can we be honest? Like he didn't really have to do anything tonight. and I like it like that. I like it like that. I like it like that. I'm not mad that he didn't have to do anything, but I'm not gonna sit here and say, whoa, he was sharp tonight. The man ain't throw a pass tonight. Like he didn't have to do anything. And again, this was the empty set that he was looking at on his touchdown run. Bates split out wide to his left with Luke McCaffrey in the slot next to him. That's nasty. Deebo Samuel directly to his right, followed by C-Rod and Jalen Lane all the way split out wide to the right. Lowered expectations. I would have put on my Superman cape and pulled out my do-it-yourself kit too, if I were him. He looked around at the 5 dudes and he was like, yeah, I probably should run this one myself. I don't blame him. But yes, he was out having fun, and I'm so glad we were able to run the football tonight. I'm so glad he was able to run the football. Jaden's going to be just fine. We know he's going to be an MVP candidate this year. And it was good to see Deebo touch the football. All we need to see him do is touch it one time, just to remind everybody that this man is a certified Eagle killer. This man is a certified Cowboy killer, right? This man is a certified NFC East serial killer. And he plays for our squad. So, yeah, I'm excited. Had to just remind people real quick that Deebo liked that. GT7, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Thank you for your generous dono, man. Really, truly do appreciate you, GT Sim. Simple reason for Brian Robinson. If you ain't RB1, you got to play special teams. That's why they tried him in the returns game. You're not wrong. You know, Candy talked about you got to serve more than one purpose. If you're not the lead tailback, if you're not a guy that's dynamic, you got to do some other shit, man. And B-Rob don't do nothing else. That's why I said Michael Gallup serves no other purpose. That's why I said if they are keeping a 6 receiver, KJ Osborne makes sense. Why? Because he serves another purpose. That's why, as a punt returner. Thoughts? No, I agree. I think the overall overarching theme is that he doesn't fit this scheme. That's something that I said I think I didn't do a good enough job of conveying that to you guys. I've mentioned it in the past that us running, read option, a lot of our runs are from the gun. A lot of our runs force running backs to press outside. Like a lot of our runs force running backs to be patient, like, counters and shit. Like, that's not like B-Rob ain't that kind of runner. You know what I mean? He want to get the ball and go north, straight up the field. Right. And so I just think he's not a great fit for his skill set. 2 of Hearts, we don't need you. We don't need you. By Hart and Hartman. Yeah. Bobby Hart stinks. I already knew that, though. Bobby Hart stinks. And Sam Hartman, golly, he was bad tonight. Last week, I could defend him last week, and I did defend him last week. And I could come up with reasons as to why he played poorly, and his supporting cast didn't help him last week. You hate the interception that he threw. It wasn't but he was pressing. And even Cliff Kingsbury said he was pressing. Tonight, he just stunk. He just stunk to high heavens. So, hard to evaluate the passing game with Hartman. Blessings, bro. And that's why I said, blessings to you, man. Bless up to you as well, man. I really appreciate you. And that's why I said it's hard for me to kill Luke McCaffrey. It's hard for me to be hypercritical of Ben Sinnott when you got Josh Johnson and Sam Hartman out there as your quarterbacks. They're not really giving you a real shot. So that is tough. It's tough. JD Sports Talk. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. JD Sports Talk writes, anything about tonight's performances for you change starting lineup / roster decisions? Example, rookie running back Quan Martin at safety, etc. No, I don't think anything I saw changes the way I feel. Like, we still didn't see a vast majority of the starters. I feel like, again, let me check my phone. I'm actually curious to see what the penalty count was. So we had 9 penalties or 7 penalties. So I said it was 7, 8, or 9 for 74 yards. So I said it was 7, 8, or 9 penalties for 70, 80, or even 90 something yards. So that's right about where it was. I'm also interested to see if so Marshawn Lattimore did play. So Mikey probably played too. I didn't see him out there, and I don't see him recording any statistics. So that doesn't mean he didn't play. He just didn't record a statistic. But I didn't see anything that made me say, oh, this guy shouldn't start or this guy needs more reps. I saw confirmation for like Jeremy Reeves. I see why they want him on the field as a third safety. I see it. I saw flashes again from Kane Madrano. I see why, Jacob Martin is going to be, a really good piece for us. I see the value in a Javon Kinlaw. I see Dorrance Armstrong being moved around. He stood up a lot more tonight than he ever did last season. In this small sample size we saw tonight, he was standing up practically the entire night. That was fun to see. So I see some things, but nothing out of the ordinary. Quan Martin looked good. The only guy that I would say moved up was Jalen Lane. Like, if you told me Terry was ready week 1 and Noah Brown wasn't ready for week 1, I would be comfortable with Jalen Lane starting outside opposite of Terry McLaurin with Debo in the slot. I couldn't have said that to you 4 hours ago before this game started. I couldn't have said that to you. Because I wasn't 5 hours ago. I couldn't have said that to you. Because I wasn't confident in his ability. He showed me that he's capable of doing that. So that was probably the only guy that I would say, if you ask me if someone did something to move themselves up the depth chart or up, into a starting role, it would be him. But again, if Noah's healthy, he to me right now solidified himself as the 4th best receiver on this roster with his play tonight. Because it wasn't hard to do that. It literally was him and Luke McCaffrey. We ain't seen shit from Luke all camp long. All camp. All camp long. All camp. We ain't seen shit from Luke all camp, all summer, all preseason. Now, he was sick last week. You wouldn't even know he played tonight. You had to be looking for him to know he was out there. So, yeah. Antoine Hoskins, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Antoine writes, if B-Rob gets cut, does C-Rod make the roster? That's the $1 million question. And when I first heard of this whole B-Rob situation, I thought, okay, they're freeing up a roster spot by moving on from him. Like, that's not the chief reason they're doing it, but that's one of the byproducts and unintended consequences that you get from cutting him is, oh, you just freed up a roster spot. You can use that somewhere else where you think the roster may be a little bit stronger. You don't want to have to cut a guy. Maybe we've talked about this, and Candy Waller said the running back room is one of the strongest positions on the team. So instead of cutting a running back to make space for another position that may not be as strong, why not just keep another running back in his place? You know what was a crazy graphic that we saw tonight? I think we all knew this if we would have sat down and took the time to map it out, but we haven't talked about it. And seeing it on an actual graphic on the screen is jarring. But I talked about this with y'all because I said, think about this roster. I think I had this conversation with Candy. Think about this roster, and the John Keim article is what made me start thinking in these terms. We have the least amount of players on the roster under contract for next season in the entire NFL. We have the least. And going into 2027, we have the second least amount of players under contract because we're doing business on a year-to-year basis right now. We're bringing guys back that were here last year on one-year deals. We're going out and signing guys and bringing them in on one-year deals. Our entire running back room, the whole thing, is not under contract for next season other than Bill. Everybody is on a one-year deal. Demetric Felton, Kaz Allen, Chris Rodriguez, Austin Eckler's on the last year of his deal, and Brian Robinson is on the last year of his deal. All of the running backs, J-Mac included, came back on a one-year deal. All of them, 2025 is the last year of their deal. Bill is the only one whose deal is up in 2028, I believe. Let's see. It's 25. So 25, 26, 27. Yep, 28. Isn't that crazy? Like, we're going to have to literally revamp this entire room. They could bring back a guy or two next year, but we're going to have to revamp that entire room next year. It's wild. I don't know if C-Rod makes this team. It feels like he's going to make this team. Because where else, like, that's going to be a fun exercise to look at the 53-man roster, because I'm looking at some of these defensive linemen and I'm like, bro, you really don't need to be here. Like, it's cool, but do you have to be here? Like, I'm really looking at Eddie Goldman and I'm like, bro, do you have to be here? Like, seriously, does Eddie Goldman have to be here? I ain't sure anymore. Derek B, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. My guy, Derek B, writes, AP to Terry McLaurin. Only year 7. Tread on tires. No injuries. Age well. If you 100 SOB, you bet on yourself, right? And get the bag in 2026. But you're a year older in 2026. Why would you don't know what's going to happen in 2025. That's not the move. To football ain't a sport where you necessarily want to bet on yourself. I want, like, you know what, who could have bet on themselves this year and got a great deal next year? The tackle for the Chargers, the babyface assassin, could have got a better deal next year had he played out this year. Guess what? He busted up his damn leg 2 days after he signed a 4-year, $100 and something million extension. Pretty sure he's glad he signed that. His career may never be the same. This ain't one of them sports where you just, I'm going to be healthy, I'll assume health. I need my bag now. Hold out and be Le'Veon Bell, or take this 75 over 3 years with 50 guaranteed. Ain't no holding out to be Le'Veon Bell. Ain't nobody trying to do that. Terry too old for that too. Ain't nobody doing that. That serves no purpose. That's not even a route Terry was ever willing to take. It was never going there. Trey Hendrickson ain't prepared to hold out a whole season, but he's prepared to miss games. He's made it clear he's prepared to not, playing in games if necessary, but they're going to get something done with Terry. Until it doesn't happen, I've already said this, until it doesn't happen, it's going to happen. So we'll see what happens. I don't think that deal right there gets it done, though. I can tell you that much. I don't think that deal gets it done. Because if you're Terry McLaurin, if all you have for me is $50 million guaranteed, and again, you say bet on yourself. You don't get the contract you want. You play out this season. You have a great season. They franchise tag you. That's $30 million right there. You don't get the contract and you ball out this season and they don't franchise tag you, you're going to make more than $50 million guaranteed on the open market. And I know that sounds crazy for some of y'all because y'all think, for some reason, y'all think nobody wants to pay Terry that money. Nobody wants to pay Terry that money now. Have another good season. Have another good season. It's some desperate teams with some cap space that will give Terry, like, all it takes is one team. All it takes is one team. We sit here, 15 teams don't have to want to pay Terry big money. All it takes is one team to be like, if you're really a number one wide receiver, I'll pay you. It only takes one team. All it takes is the Patriots to be like, bro, we'll pay you. Or the Titans to look up and say, shit, man, we could definitely use somebody out here for Cam Ward. We'll pay you. That's all it takes is one team. How important is it to you to get the bag? I know a lot of y'all like to play well, you want to go play for a loser, or you want to play with Jaden Daniels. Man, ain't nobody trying to hear that shit. Ain't nobody trying to hear that shit. Just pay me what I'm worth. That's the type of time he on. They're going to have to figure it out. They're going to have to figure it out. And they will. I feel good that they will. GT7. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes, now we see why they re-signed Bates with the quickness. He be blocking. He be blocking. With this run game plus Scary plus Zach and Devo and Lane, we might have something. Look, they put weapons around Jaden. That's why the whole Terry situation put a black eye around what was a perfect situation from an offseason, from what we did a season ago, from what they had built, the trades for Laramie and Devo, what they did in the draft and adding Jalen Lane and like adding Bill, like this offense around Jaden Daniels, they took a strength and made it stronger. And we lost sight of that because Noah Brown been out and Terry been out. And we've been complaining about the receivers. And we trying to figure out what this offensive line going to look like, but guys been banged up. So we lost sight of the fact that when we're healthy, this is still the strength of this team. And so we don't work. That's why I've been saying it. Rio's been saying it. I don't worry about this offense. Don't worry about them. I hate that Terry's out because I think it's going to have more of a negative impact on the defense because they're not getting the work that they need. That's what I think. We could be in for a rude awakening week 1 against the Giants because they ain't seen no real number one wide receiver all camp. So you get out there, and again, I don't know, Malik Neighbors been dealing with a little back. She should be ready week 1. But you get out there, and Malik Neighbors, they see some shit that they ain't seen all camp. Nothing even remotely close to that. That shit hit different, and all of a sudden, damn, what the hell just happened? Chitlin circuit. We'll see. But they did some things on offense for Jaden. They did what they were supposed to do, building around their young phenom quarterback. Now we got to see if they've done enough defensively, which we know the defense is better. How much better? How much better? Tony P, 56. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy Tony P writes, B-Rob would have made those big runs 8 physical yards. Hey, chill, bro. C-Rod ain't get contacted till he was 38 yards down the field, bro. Like, B-Rob could have did that too. Trust me. Any one of the backs on this roster right now could have got what C-Rod got out of that run. Same thing with Bill's run. Nothing was done special on either one of those runs. It didn't take tremendous vision. There wasn't a cutback. There wasn't great footwork. It was literally, oh shit, look at that hole. I should run up it. Now I should run as fast as I can down the right sideline and see how far I can get. For Bill, it got him to the end zone. For C-Rod, it got him a 40-yard gain. Like, it wasn't hard. So, and I know you kid, but it was, I just thought about all of the C-Rod stands out there. I was like, no, they're going nuts right now. I know they're going crazy. Video channel. And they took that opportunity to shit on B-Rob at the same time, which was totally uncalled for, but I know what they were up to. I heard your jokes. Video channel. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB My Guy video channel. Writes, improved running back group and O-line. This run game has serious potential outside of Five's rushing ability. Look, man, it's hard for me to buy into this run game being dominant and all of this based off of playing against Cincinnati. One, and this isn't the offensive line that's going to start. Like, Chris Paul is a big physical man. His problem is moving his feet. But when he gets his hands on you, Chris Paul is a problem. Andrew Wiley can run block. You say what you want about Andrew Wiley's pass protection and the consistency of it, even though he wasn't terrible last year, but they did help him a ton with chips and double teams. He can run block, which is why a lot of people are like, yo, Andrew Wiley can play guard because Andrew Wiley can run block. Josh Connolly has surprised me. You asked me, what is the most surprising element of what Josh Connolly has done so far? And I would tell you, it's his ability to run block. Because the one thing we thought he was going to be really good at is pass protection, which he actually has been good at pass protection. I don't want to make it seem like he hasn't. But we knew he needed to get functionally stronger. Usually, getting stronger is a byproduct of not being as strong is you're not going to be moving guys in the run game. You're not going to be, really adept at that early on. And surprisingly, he's been really good in the run game. So, we'll see what it looks like when, the starters are actually out there. We still don't even know who the hell's starting. We don't even know who's starting at right tackle. We don't know what the hell's going on at left guard. Even though I expect Coleman to be back before week 1, we still don't know what's going on there. And so Tunzel hasn't played any meaningful reps in a game yet. We know what he is, though. But it's still about, well, who's playing next to him and when can they start getting in sync? So there's a lot to figure out with this offensive line, but an improved line and an improved running back room should equal more production on the ground from your, ground game outside of your quarterback. That's the mathing. We'll see if that actually takes place or not. Feels like it should. It feels like it should. TJ Ryder, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes, first quarter felt like a movie. Didn't it, though? I told you, I got a whole page and a half of notes, and the first quarter took up almost 2/3 of the first page. There was so much action in the first quarter. It was great. I said the first quarter felt like a whole game. It felt like at least a half of a game, for sure. Definitely felt like a movie, TJ Rod. I agree. Brandon, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Brandon writes, who else could it be but me? Guess who? I'm not going to guess. This feels like a trap. I know you out there somewhere, Luck. You out there somewhere, bruh. You out there somewhere, lurking in the shadows. I told you you'll never get me again. Command OGJ, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Shout out to my guy, Command OGJ. Again, thank you for the tickets. I made somebody's day with those tickets, man, and the parking pass. Big shout out to my guy, Command OGJ, for blessing the mob with some tickets. He says, Lou, what's up, Command OGJ? You see Caleb looking good passing to OZ? Yeah, man. First of all, I saw a lot of people over there this weekend sort of like Commander reminiscing and shit. Like, when I reminisce over you, OZ. Then Jeremy Chin catch a pick, and they're like, yo, I see Jeremy Chin over there catching picks for the Raiders. And I'm like, y'all chill, bro. Chill. We'll see OZ and Jeremy this year. Both within the first 6 weeks of the season. Don't worry, we'll see our old friends. He says, me think some teams trying to a bit too hard to win in the preseason. Pats, Bears, Bengals. Meanwhile, JD5 just smiling, Bill crushing. Hey, you think B-Rob gets 127 yards rushing against us on Xmas? Look, if you're the Patriots, you should be trying to win in the preseason because you're trying to change a culture. They need wins. Anytime they can get it, they need to feel good about themselves. They should be playing hard in the preseason, right? The Bears, Caleb Williams played in his first game of the summer. He should be out there trying to play well. They should be trying to play well. Like Ben Johnson is trying to prove that I'm not just an offensive play caller. I'm no one-hit wonder as a play caller. I can actually coach a football team. We're going to see. You know, preseason ain't the regular season. That's for damn sure. We'll see. The Bengals, they just won their first preseason game. I don't think they were trying too hard to win. But I'll say this. If B-Rob gets cut, because I still don't think, like, they made it seem like on the telecast, which, again, what are they supposed to say? They're supposed to say, so far the Commanders don't have any suitors for him. Of course, they're like, there is some interest. I don't think there's no interest. There's some interest when his ass gets cut. Yeah. I don't think there's any interest to give us any picks for him or pick for him. And I've said this. I think he's making a beeline to Dallas. He's going to be pissed off in his feelings. He's going to want to hurt us twice. And he wants to go close to home. You can do all of that by going to Texas. So, yeah, I see him. No, he's not rushing for 127 yards against us on Christmas. No, he's not doing that. But I hate the fact that that's even a thing that could actually happen. That makes me sick. But such is life, you know. I'm coming to grips with the fact that this man is not going to be on the roster. It's still crazy to me. Unless you get something for him, then I'm all for it. But they're not getting anything for him. Brandon, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Who writes, here's a hint. I knew it. Look, you can't get me, bro. I'm locked in, and I'm going to be locked in for life. I already told you, I'll never get got again. Ever get got again. So, good try. But I always know somebody's out there lurking. If it sounds like luck, it smells like luck, it is luck. But you won't get me. DMV Bay, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, after 2 preseason games, do we still have Sennett over Cole Turner? Yes. Because the one thing we know Ben Sennett can do that Cole Turner cannot do is block. Cole Turner ain't blocking no damn body. Okay? At least Ben Sennett can still do that. Cole Turner, after 2 preseason games, 1 catch, the one he had tonight. Is that it? So, yeah, no. Ben Sennett clearly is over. Cole Turner's not making his team. I already told you, I'm shocked that Cole Turner's even still here. Right? V-Chow, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. V-Chow writes, feel like it's hard to evaluate the tight ends and wide receivers with this terrible quarterback play. Wanted to see more of Luke McCaffrey, Sennett, and Brooks. As did I. That's why I brought up that as much as I want to, be harsh and critical of Luke McCaffrey and Ben Sennett, it's hard to do that with this inconsistent bottom of the barrel quarterback play that we had out there tonight and have had out there the first 2 preseason games. It's hard to really be super critical of those guys because you just don't have great decision makers out there right now. Guys that we don't have guys that are seeing the field well right now. I agree with you. Video channel. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes, B Price, 6'4", and plays like he's 4'6". Sam can't operate this quick hidden passing game. AP, call Jeff Driscoll. Where's Jeff Driscoll at? Let me look him up and see if he's on an NFL roster right now. He's got to be on a roster, right? Jeff Driscoll has to be on an NFL roster, right? Jeff Driscoll is currently not on an NFL roster. I would much rather Jeff Driscoll be here. He is not currently on an NFL roster. I would love Jeff Driscoll to come back, but obviously it's too late for that. I don't know why they moved on from him in the first place to bring in Josh Johnson. Like, if you were going to bring somebody in, why not just go get Jeff Driscoll again? I didn't understand that, because he was already here last year. He already knew the system. You already knew he was a good fit in the locker room. I assume that. I don't know that, but I don't see why he wouldn't have been a good fit in the locker room. Like, why go get 39-year-old Josh Johnson when you can go get Jeff Driscoll, who was here last year and actually played well in the preseason, who actually made this roster initially last year? But they went and got Josh Johnson, and he stinks. So I'm with you. Command OJG, or excuse me, Command OGJ. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes, Dookie Draws Sam is like the friend you explain to your wife why you go out with once a month for a beer but can't invite to the house, not for the roster. Yeah, I had a friend like that. But he actually did come over to the house. Let me not do that. Anyway, Sam is terrible, man. And I wanted Sam to be good so bad, like good enough. Like, I knew his faults. I'm a Notre Dame Fighting Irish fan. I watched this man play. I know the faults of Sam Hartman, right? So I know inexplicably Sam is going to do some shit where you go, the hell was that, bro? You were doing so well. Why would you do that? But I don't think he has confidence right now. I think he's lacking that one element that you need, and that's confidence. And you can see it. He's struggling mentally right now. He's getting his ass whooped. For sure. He's struggling for sure right now. Skins again. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, hey, Lou, you defended Hartman last week. I did. And I actually thought that if guys caught the football last week, he would have had a much better week. There's no defending Sam this week because of his receivers. Yep. He is cheeks. Facts. Hot, fresh buns straight out of the oven. I agree. I need some Amos. I'm tired of watching trash cornerbacks. JD5 is so special. Did DQ say why he didn't play tonight? They just kept him out of the game, which is fine by me. But did he give any rationale as to why he didn't play tonight? I'm pretty sure the media asked him. I would love to know why he didn't play tonight. Thought this was another opportunity for him to get some work in and continue to grow. But I digress. Corin Smith, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Corin writes, Debo will be the X factor. He is dangerous. That is what he was brought here to be, the X factor. That is exactly what he was brought here to do. Be dangerous. Y'all said hip tightness, hamstring tightness. You don't want to hear that. That's not good. Hopefully everything is okay, and that was just precautionary. He's fine. We can't afford that. That's the thing we don't want to hear. So the good thing is you got 3 weeks until we play our first game. If he's got to sit out all the next week, obviously he wasn't playing against the Ravens anyway. But if you got to sit out all the next week to get back to where we need him to be, so be it. But let's not start that shit. I hope it was his hip that was tight and not his hamstring, because I can deal with hip tightness. We'd be all right. Start talking about hammies and all shit. We done went down a path that we don't want to go down. So, anyway, GT7. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, Luke equals cronyism. T. Martin deserves to be ranked higher than Luke on the depth chart. Look, Tay been playing some ball, man. Again, it's hard to evaluate any of these receivers. He caught the nice corner route on 4th down to Tay Martin. I like what Tay Martin did last week as well. I see, this is the thing that we can't say. We're not out there every day. We don't see what Luke and Tay Martin and everybody is doing. You know, we only see what we see when they play games. And for Luke, it's not much. He was sick last week, so he barely played this week. He was invisible. So it's easy to just pile on Luke, but he might not be good. Like, a lot of people don't think he was good. He might not be good. DQ said he had hamstring tightness, but he said he could have gone if it was a real game. Okay. That's good to know. I don't like the body part that was bothering him, but it means it wasn't significant. But, you know, if anything crops up, you gotta be on the cautious side of things. You don't want to chance it, right? So that makes sense. That makes sense. Red Wings 01. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, nice to feel vindicated as a Tinsley truther. But, of course, he gets the game of his life against us. Of course he does. Right? Of course he does. Hard to gauge with our guys with this quarterback play. It is. This reminds me of when Chris Cooley told us he couldn't evaluate the rest of the team because of Robert Griffin III at quarterback. That's kind of how I feel about our receivers and tight ends right now and our skill position guys with these quarterbacks. It's hard to really evaluate what those guys are truly capable of and what they are or aren't doing. I guess it may warrant an opportunity to just look at the film. It may warrant that, because you really, maybe guys aren't separating and getting open, but yeah, it didn't look good tonight. It didn't look good. Mr. Red Wings 01, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes, Andre Jones put together back-to-back strong games. I know you think he's irrelevant, and I do. And I dismissed what he did tonight, and I dismissed what he did last week. But I always liked him, and he's helping himself with Baptiste out. I don't see it that way. I mean, he's helping himself by just being out on the field and being available. The best ability is availability, but I haven't walked away one time saying, man, Andre Jones looked good tonight. You know, every sack or every pressure he gets is a hustle sack or hustle pressure, meaning he didn't win initially. He just kept playing, and the quarterback held on to the ball long, and then all of a sudden, here comes Andre Jones. But it's never Andre Jones just whoops somebody's ass and he's coming after the quarterback. He's a Jag. You know, he's a Jag. He looked like a 7th round pick. So I want Javonte John Baptiste to come back so we can this really sucks, to be honest. Like, this was valuable time for JJB. This was valuable. He needed this time. Last week, this week, he needed this time. And for him to be out, this is the absolute worst time for him to be out. Because once the season starts, you ain't getting reps like that. You fade to black. It's too many guys on this defensive line that come before you where you don't have to be on the field. He might not be active most weeks with this line. We had to activate him last year. We didn't have the depth. We'll see who makes the team and who doesn't. But right now, Javonte seemed like a dude that's on that inactive list just about every week right now. He really needed this time in. I can say the same thing for Jordan McGee. This is some valuable time that they miss, and it sucks. It really does. Red Wing 01, been a member for 34 months. Who writes, look at 5 out there, man. That's my quarterback. Man, it was fun to see him out there shining like white diamonds. You see the bottoms he had in his mouth? I said, look at him out here showing off for the camera. Got the chain. Everybody had their chains. Zach Ertz had his chains on. Jade had his chain. Devo. Everybody was shining on the sidelines. That's what teams, that's what players do, though. Lamar be having his chains on the sideline. That's what players do. They got to show the ice off. But yeah, man, it was fun to see him smiling, running around, having fun. Man, this season gonna be lit. It's gonna be fun this year. Speaking of which, Commanders Kings live August 24th, day after the final preseason game. This 53-man roster has just gotten interesting with this whole B-Rob situation. And these quarterbacks playing like hot ass. This shit has gotten really interesting as to what they can do. I still think there's a chance that a 6th receiver emerges. Things get interesting now at the running back position with, B-Rob no longer being a part of the equation and C-Rod looking like he's trying to jump in the mix. I think the D-line is getting interesting because I'm looking at Eddie Goldman. I'm like, bro, what do you do? What do you do? I'm actually looking at Carl Davis and I'm saying, I actually think you might be more useful than Eddie Goldman at this point. He had a nice bull rush on a pressure in this game. And I saw, and he stops the run. We know that's the thing they like about Carl Davis. He stops the run. But, I don't know. There's some decisions to be made. Anyway, 53-man roster predictions, season preview, toast to the season. The Kings are going to be in full effect. We want you guys to be a part of the show. We got less than 20 tickets remaining. This show is going to be epic. It's the first time the Kings have ever been in the same vicinity together. It's the first time I'm going to meet any of these guys in person. We've never met each other. Obviously Rico lives in Atlanta, so we've never met him. I can't speak for them. I've never met Rico. I don't think any of them have met him either in person. And then, I think Rio and Ed have met each other multiple times, but I've never met any of them. So this is going to be great. And we got so much to discuss, so much to talk about. It's going to be lit. We're going to have a DJ. We're going to turn up. We're going to have drinks. I haven't had a drink since last month. So, you can't. And look, I think my wife might be dropping me off, so I might have a chauffeur. If I've got a DD, you know what time it is. I ain't going to get too lit, but the kid is going to feel nice. Okay? The kid's going to feel nice. So, go ahead. I heard your jokes. Louie Tee, go ahead. Put your jokes in the comment section. I know. But it's going to be a lot of fun. $45 gets you in the building. We got less than 20 tickets. This event's going to be sold out. We want you to be a part of it, but if you can't, you can always donate. Mods, if you would do me a favor, drop the link down in the comment section of the video. The link is also in the description of this video. It's always in the description. Click that link. You can purchase your tickets there. If you want to be a part of the show, but you can't actually physically be in attendance, you can also donate and be there spiritually. Remember, if you donate, we are going to give you a shout out live on the stream because you are as much a part of this as someone that is actually there in attendance, right? So we want to give you the credit that you deserve for continuing to help support the Kings, even though you couldn't physically be there. You can donate by clicking on that link where you can purchase your tickets. Scroll all the way down to the bottom and you will find all of the different tiers where you can donate. We can't thank you enough. And I thank each and every single one of you who have already bought tickets that will be there. Can't wait to meet you, chop it up with you. And then all of you who donate, we can't thank you enough for the support. So get your tickets. They're almost gone. Commander Kings live, August the 24th, live from Crystal City Sports Pub in Arlington, Virginia. So, Q-Dog, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. I'm just noticing, is that a snake around your neck, Q-Dog? Or am I tripping? I've seen that picture a million times. I don't think I ever realized. Is that a damn snake around your neck? He writes, say it, LT. Speed. Bill is so fast, and his D-line is clearly faster. Also, Sam Hartman is cheeks. LOL. The D-line looks good. I liked what I saw tonight out of the D-line. Even when Jacob Martin was in there, this is the second week I've been impressed with Jacob Martin. It wasn't me, or did Bill not look fast on that touchdown run? He didn't look fast, but I don't think he needed to be super fast. But he didn't look super fast on that run. I think I've seen Bill run faster than that in college. He was plenty fast, though, on that play. But, I mean, he's faster than anything we've had here in a while. So there's that. But that's a low bar. And yes, Sam Hartman is fresh buns. Yeah, I'm done. I'm done with both of those dudes. Done with both of those dudes. Abel Ambrosio, been a member for 33 months. My guy writes, man, those chains JD had was shiny bright. Yeah, he wasn't the only one. The chains were out tonight, man. Everybody knew they was on national TV. Everybody knew that they was on Natty tonight. So they was like, yeah, man, I got to pull out the chains. Zach Ertz, I don't know if I ever seen Zach Ertz icy before. Ertz had his on. Obviously, JD had his on, had the bottoms in. Debo had his in. Had his on. If we would have seen Trey Amos, I'm pretty sure he would have had his whole entire grill in. Probably would have had a chain on too. But we didn't see him. I don't know if he was on the sidelines or not. I don't recall seeing the camera find him at all tonight. Brandon, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Brandon writes, sup, Lou? I'm late. Did Mr. Brooks play? Not Taj. Yeah, he played. He had a catch. I'm not mistaken. I think he had a catch rolling back towards the first down marker. They marked him short. It was either him or Jacoby Jones that made that catch. I'm pretty sure it was Brooks that made that catch. I think that was his only catch of the night. But I can double check. I know he played for sure. I've seen him out there plenty of times. Did he make a catch, though? Yeah, that was him, that 7-yard catch that he caught. And I thought he had the first down. They jerked him and said that he was short. We ended up getting the first down on the next play anyway. But he caught a diving catch rolling back towards the sticks, and they marked his forward progress short of the first down. So, yeah, he played. He blocked a little bit. Didn't get as many targets as he got last week. But again, the quarterbacks were way worse than they were last week. I had said that I didn't know if either one of those guys threw for 100 yards. I can check right now. Yeah. I mean, Josh Johnson, 6 of 9, 56 yards and an interception. Sam Hartman, 4 of 10, 29 yards and an interception. God, 10 of 19 for 85 yards and 2 interceptions. Jesus, those are Daniel Jones type numbers. Man, our guys stink. Yikes. Red Wings 0-1. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you, my guy. Red Wings, right? Bates was huge on both C-Rod and Bill big runs. That's why you pay blocking tight ends without question. I gave Bates a cold one earlier in the show. I mean, so often we overlook John Bates's impact and his presence on this team because he's not a pass catcher. But what he does, again, can't be understated, can't be underscored. It can't be dismissed or overlooked. He's so vital to what we want to do on the ground. And even in pass protection, when he stays in and blocks, he's like an extra offensive lineman. John Bates is such a good football player. And he stars in his role. And that's what you need. If you're going to win, you need guys who star in their role. And John Bates never tries to be anything more than what he is. And when they call his number, he usually catches the ball. My thing with him is like, hey, just hold on to the bitch when you catch it, because, you know, Bates is good for a fumble every now and then. But Bates catches the ball when you throw it to him. So they claim they want to throw him the ball more this year. I'll believe it when I see it. But, man, is he just whooping some ass up front. Man, he was so good tonight. That whole right side was excellent. That whole right side was really good tonight. And then, again, shout out to Andrew Wiley, too. He did some really good things, especially when he pulled. I think it was on the Bill run when he pulled and was one of those kick-out blocks. So, yeah, he was awesome. Q-Dog, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Who writes, yes, it's a snake, LOL. I'm just noticing that shit now. I don't know why. I've seen your thumbnail 50 million times. How I didn't notice that you had a snake around your neck this entire time until I just looked and I was like, you know what I thought it was? I thought it was one of those like headphones that you put around your neck that wrap around your ears and go around. And that's what I thought it was this whole time. And now that I'm looking at it, and it's bigger on my screen because of the video that I'm in. I'm like, oh shit, is that a snake? That's crazy. That's dope. It's crazy, but it's dope at the same time. Brandon, been a member for 15 months. Who writes, also, we might want to bet Zach Taylor is fired first. I go back and forth with Zach Taylor. I really, truly do. I thought it was irresponsible on his part to keep Joe Burrow out there as long as he did after the shit was happening with Joe. But I think Joe also wants to play. But again, as a coach, it's your job to use your discretion no matter what a player wants to do. Jaden Daniels wants to play more. Guess what? You got 4 plays. We scored a touchdown. Your day's done, bro. Don't need to see you out there anymore. He put Joe out there with the backups. I don't give a shit what Joe talking about. I want more reps with the backups. Joe was out there getting his ass whooped a little bit. And ultimately, he made it out. It's football. And I'm one of those people that usually say, it's football. Like, you can't put guys in bubble wrap. It's this game. But it's the preseason. And you want to get him reps, and you did get him reps. And you want him to finish on a high note, and he did. But after that second possession, that probably would have been it for me. You know, he got slung down. That Dietrich Wise sack, that one was the scary one. Because he pulled him down by his horse collar. He could have got his leg bent up under him. He slammed him down violently. He could have slammed him down on his shoulder and broke his collarbone. Any stupid shit could have happened there. What? For what? So he could get reps with Yossi Bosch and Charlie Jones and Mitchell Tinsley? You got him out there for that? We can get those reps in practice, bro. We're not doing that in the preseason game. But if Zach Taylor get fired, it's going to be because of the defense. It ain't going to be because of anything that happened with the offense. As long as Joe Burrow's healthy, they'll have a shot. That defense is atrocious. Their defense is offensive. It's rough. Swaggy P, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Swaggy P. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, can't wait to see Louie on Sunday if a designated driver is available. There's a chance. So you're telling me there's a chance. We'll see. I'm going to assume that I'm going to drive myself. So I'm going to have to play it safe. That's the assumption right now, but there's a chance. Me and my wife are trying to figure it out so that she doesn't have to pick me up, because it's going to be a lot to have to load the kids up and all of that stuff. So we're trying to figure it out. We'll figure it out. But I'm more likely than not going to have to drive myself. So no, I'm probably not going to be able to cut up. But there is a chance. Okay, there is a chance. So you never know. Anyway, I digress. That, my friends, is going to do it for the second preseason game. Commanders lose to the Cincinnati Bengals 31-17, but it's not the real story. There were good individual performances. We saw some good things from the defense. We saw some good things from the offense. Special teams was solid tonight. Kind of got their mojo back a little bit. I wasn't impressed with the kicks necessarily from Matt Gay. They need to figure out, like, really, it's crazy as this sounds. Last year, I think we had the perfect kickers for the kickoff because those guys didn't have big legs last year. And so it was easy for them to kick the ball off and have it land at the 3 or at the 2. Matt Gay has to try, because he's got a big leg, he's got to try not to kick it in the end zone. And I think he's struggling with that a little bit. They got to figure out a way to fix that, though. These little pooch kicks, I know they like to try things in the preseason, and so that might have been by design. He pooch kicked one to the left. That one almost got, he pooch kicked one to the right. That was the opening kickoff. That one almost broke through and ended up being another big return. And then he pooch kicked one to the right, and that one was, busted up by Colson Yankoff. But I don't like those kicks. I like the ones that you kick up into the air and it's a traditional kickoff. I don't know if he can do that consistently or not. I don't know if they were just trying stuff on special teams, but they got to get their shit together because I don't like what I've seen necessarily with those kicks in particular, and then what those kicks can yield. If you get a guy that hits it straight and he hits the alley, look out. Here we go. And that almost happened with Charlie Jones on the opening kickoff. So anyway, it was good to see the fellas on this national stage come out, play well. The crowd was rocking. It was fun watching this game. We'll talk more about it. We'll go through the things that I had on my list of that I wanted to see. I think ultimately might have to break out the all 22s for this one so we can see some of the things that went down. But all in all, I'd say tonight was a successful night. We walked away unscathed, no injuries, no worse for the wear. Got some good work in. We saw Deebo Samuel in the Commander's uniform for the first time. He did not disappoint. We saw Javon Kinlaw and some other guys for the first time. They were solid. Still got to clean up the penalties. Wasn't too pleased with that. The third quarterback competition is dead because both of them stink. At this point, I'm like, just keep 2 quarterbacks. Life without B-Rob, first game. Hugely and wildly successful, but again, have to take the opponent into consideration. So, we'll see what it looks like. But for the first time without him, it was a massive success, and it makes you feel like, we'll be fine without him. We'll see. But it doesn't matter whether or not we feel that it's going to be or not going to be. He's gone. He ain't coming back. So I'd rather them look like they did tonight than the alternative. So a lot of good takeaways. Jalen Lane is by far and away the biggest takeaway of this game for me. He was fantastic. What did he end up with? My guess is 5 catches for 60-something yards. Maybe I'm overrating the amount of yards, and it might just be like 40-something yards. I feel like he had at least 3 catches of over 12 yards. But again, I could be overrating the amount of yards. But he had about 5 catches. Let's see what that actual number looked like. Shit. I say that, and he only had 3 catches. But 3 catches for 42 yards. He had a return. Let's see what his punt return was. I feel like it was 9 yards or so. 11 yards on that punt return. That was a really good return down that right sideline. He had a kickoff return for 22 yards, which I thought was uninspiring. But I thought Jalen Lane was excellent tonight. So maybe one of his catches got called back due to a penalty or something, because I feel like he caught it more than 3 times. But I thought he was the one that stood out to me. He was the one that really said, hey, I'll be that guy. If you need somebody to step up at the receiver position, I'll be that guy. So we'll talk about this game in greater detail, obviously, tomorrow. I think the Commanders Kings will be live tomorrow night, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll talk again, at greater detail and length about this game. But I am excited. I'm excited. And this was a fun game. This is a fun game. So got my Chubby shirt on. Shout out to Chubby's for blessing the kid. All right. Got me over here looking fresh, feeling good. Head over to chubbyshorts.com/LouieT to get you $10 off of this amazing NFL apparel. So one more preseason game to go. The season will be here before you know it. I'm excited. Birdman hand rub. I'm going to watch DQ's press conference, shut it down for the night, and then we are going to talk about this game in greater detail tomorrow. I've got all of the things that I was looking for. We're going to talk about those things tomorrow or later on today. And we'll jump on with the Kings. And looking forward to chopping it up with you guys again tomorrow. I think the rest of this week is going to be interesting because there's no joint practice, which was going to be like the glue that held this final week together. Obviously, you're not going to play your guys in the final preseason game. So for all intents and purposes, that was the last time we're going to see this team compete in a competitive environment until the start of the season against the Giants. They're game planning for the New York Giants as we speak right now. So this game gave me confidence. Not that I was lacking it in, but a lot of fans they had hubris, right? They just sticking their chest out. We gonna kill the Giants. This made me feel like, yeah, we finna kick the Giants' ass. I feel like we can kick the Giants' ass. And Giants fans feel the same way. Like they expect to come to Washington and beat us. They could easily walk in here and catch the wrong end of this buzzsaw. Straight up. We gotta get this Terry shit resolved. We gotta get this shit done, fixed, and over with. Get our guy back on the field smiling, and let's get to work. That's the last piece of this puzzle as we get ready to embark upon this 2025 season. And I think it's going to be one hell of a ride. Anyway, you guys enjoy the rest of your evening. I will see you guys next time. Big shout out to Chubby's for blessing the kid with this merch. Again, the link to the Chubby's website, chubbyshorts.com/LouieT, is going to be in the description of this video. I'm also going to pin it to the comment section of this video. Head on over, get your $10 off their NFL apparel. Get into their fantasy football league. There's so many good things going on over at Chubby's. Check them out and tell them your man Louie Tee sent you. Until next time, you guys have a good one. Take care. Post up. Take command. Y'all be easy. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.